House, Majority Leader. The Chair recognizes Representative Newcastle. Representative Devon.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the House Democratic Caucus, it is with great honor that I nominate State Representative Roy Fowler of Asst to the leadership position of Assistant Majority Leader. In early June, I saw Lori at a function up in Bangor, and I said to her, "Lori, I think about running for the whip." She kind of smiled and said, "Nick, you're the fourth or fifth person that said that to me." Lori is pragmatic and endured a tough re-election, so she was forced to concentrate her efforts on the hard campaigning needed to return to Augusta before she could put her complete effort behind campaigning for leadership. Lori is very dedicated to her family. She and her husband Eric have been married for 24 years. They have 3 children ranging in age from 18 to 22. Living in the Asst world provides her great access to the State House. At this stage of her life, her family responsibilities and dynamics will enable her to dedicate all the time necessary to fulfill her duties to serve us as our whip. She has demonstrated in the 126th legislature that she possesses the energy, the dedication, and drive to do the job. And her combination of intuition and savvy will serve us well. Or is an analytical and creative thinker who will be able to move Democrats outside of the box. Having run her own business, Lori is familiar with the need to be quick on her feet and creative in problem solving. It is vital that our leadership have diversity. Lori, although representing a district in central Maine, was born in Caribou and lived in the county until she was 23. She refers to herself as a county girl. Her roots in the county are deep. She is the only one who can claim ownership of the rural part of the state. That's important for people from the rural part of the state, or the rural parts of the state. We need to keep that in mind. Presently, we Democrats have lost touch with natives, except for along the southern and mid-coast, and with a few isolated pockets in them. We need leaders who demonstrate a connection to and empathy with all regions of the state. From the county, to down east, to the west. This is Lori's upbringing in the county, brings that attribute to our leadership, which we desperately need. And this will become particularly important as she works to recruit rural candidates to run in 2016. As a leader, Lori is focused on others and not herself. So consequently, many of you might not realize how effective she was in her first term. According to a study conducted by the Sunlight Foundation, Lori was one of the most effective freshman state legislators and one of a small group of freshman legislators to score in the top 1/3 percentile of all legislators. Being a scientist, I figured you guys would appreciate a little bit of data from me. We need leaders with a proven track record. And based on her voting record from the same Sunlight Foundation study, Lori grades out in the middle of our caucus. We have a wide range of divergent views. We truly are a large tent. And Lori, being in the center, can reach the both ends and understand all of us. And as importantly, Lori, being a moderate among the Democrats, not a moderate among the entire House, but a moderate among the Democrats, will have the credibility amongst the Republicans to earn their respect quickly and to get to work right away in communication with the leadership that they have voted on and selected on the other side of the aisle. Which leads me to my next point about Lori. Lori was the only non-veteran to participate in the Veterans Caucus last session. Veterans in the House and service veterans organizations that work with us, such as the American Legion and the Veterans of Foreign Wars, these groups, and even veterans in the House, are dominated by Republican men. And here comes Lori, this non-veteran who's a Democrat. She went right into the lion's den of the veterans as a non-veteran Democrat. She not only held her own with the Republicans, and I do that quite well. With Lori, the proof's in the pudding. With that group of veterans and veteran service organizations that are dominated by Republican men, Lori was one of only 3 out of 151 state representatives last time that was represented, that was recognized by the American Legion as a legislator of the year for her work on veterans issues. Lori has the glass hardware to demonstrate that she can work across the aisle and will serve us well. Finally, I want to touch upon Lori's commitment to her own set of morals and ethics. Our caucus is disturbed by the influence of money in our elections and disagrees with the Supreme Court's decision on Citizens United. Additionally, many caucus members often express concern about the conflict or hypocrisy of operating a PAC while simultaneously running as a main clean election candidate. Voters are rightfully skeptical of money and influence in politics. They are hungry for politicians that earn their trust not only for what they do, but for what they won't do. Lori understands that public trust in the main clean election program is undermined and weakened when candidates play both sides of public funding and operating PACs. Thus, she elected not to establish a leadership PAC. As we begin a fresh start in the 127th, we need a whip who can work with Republicans, yet maintain integrity, and who is principled and pragmatic. I know that Lori will work to find ways to get things done without compromising our democratic values. My fellow Democratic House colleagues, I urge your support for Lori Fowler. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Rosado. Representative Shea.
Mr. Chair, I am extremely pleased to second the nomination of Lori Fowler for the office of Assistant Majority Leader. I'm fired up. This race, Mr. Speaker, is not about personality, it's not about going door to door, it's not about raising money through PACs. It's about the direction that this caucus is taking and the particular leadership style we need at this most critical juncture. I've been really impressed with Lori, having worked with her last legislative session, especially in our morning caucus meetings. And for those of you new to the House for the first time, these are critical in setting a positive tone for the day. And in these caucus meetings, Lori asks very substantive, poignant questions to get us talking, figuring out what's going to be most effective at the end of the day, being inclusive, ensuring that each and every one of us has a seat at the table, and asking these tough questions about weighing the political consequences of each and every vote. And when one session has 1,700 plus bills, that's a big task, one that she's up for. And she bases it on our districts, and that's what she wants to do, ensure that you can make an informed decision at the end of the day. Not political pressure, but ensure that you feel empowered to make sure that we play on each of our strengths. I mean, the reason why each and every one of you won your districts is because of your lengthy resumes, because of your passion for public service. Each and every one of you brings something different to the table. Let's empower each and every one of you to reach that greatest potential in our caucus. That brings me to a very interesting point about this position, a whip. Right? That's what it's commonly referred to as. But let's flip it on its head. I want to say that Lori Fowler of Vassal will be the empowerer, not the whip. Empower each and every one of us to have a seat at the table, to have a voice in caucus decision making. Not being told what the caucus position is going to be, but include your voice at the table. Whatever your strength is, let's bring you involved. That's really important. And as we've seen this past election, we have to hit the reset button. And now, unlike the Staples button, this is not going to be easy. Okay? This is going to be an uphill battle. This is going to be something that takes tenacity, someone who's going to fight for our best interests. But we need somebody who's going to recognize the importance of bipartisanship. Lori is recognized as one of the most bipartisan members of our caucus. Not because she's not a Democrat, she's not afraid to stand up for Democratic values, but recognizes, based on her constituents in her district, the value of talking with the other side. Come to the table as people, because at the end of the day, that's who we are. We're people who want to serve our communities, and Lori recognizes this. And her work, for instance, with veterans having been recognized for those works with the American Legion, that to me is a sign that she's willing to come to the table and just have common sense solutions. And yes, there are sometimes we can agree with Republicans, or at least meet them halfway. We have to be the grown-ups in the room. We have be the ones to offer the olive branch. If they don't take it, that's on them. But we have to show the main people, we have to show the state that we're willing to come to the table and work in the best interest, to move our state forward, to fight for the things that we believe in, and not have a lame duck. I don't want to go back to my district and choose and say, oh, sorry, it was a stalemate. We couldn't achieve anything. And then you'll ask yourself, did I do enough? Did I elect the right people in leadership positions to achieve our common goals? I don't want to make the wrong choice. We need to define our future, and we need to define the future of our state. And it starts right here now, with each and every one of us in this room. We need to evaluate our objectives as a caucus and repackage our core principles. We have to reaffirm our state, our status as a party for the middle class, for middle class families, for seniors, for ensuring that the next generation of Maine people have an opportunity to live, work, and play here in the state of Maine. People like me and others. That's so important. We have to make tomorrow better than today, but we have to start right here with electing people that understand that new dynamic shift. I believe Lori Fowler is the right person. She will empower you. She will care about your districts. She will lead our caucus. I see leadership. I see a leadership quality in Lori that is unprecedented. Let's set a new tone in a new direction here and now. And I believe each and every one of you will make the right choice. So I urge you to support Lori Fowler for Assistant Majority Leader. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Are there any other nominations? Chair recognizes Representative Sandberg, Representative Skowhegan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Men and women of the caucus, it is my honor to nominate Representative Sara Gideon for the position of Assistant Majority Leader. I have had the pleasure of serving with Sara in the 126th legislature and getting to know her over the past 2 years, and it became apparent to me early on that she is a very bright individual with a strong work ethic, one who also shows great personal integrity. These traits are important, even essential in a leader. But for me, a truly gifted leader must demonstrate even more. First, she must possess the innate ability to lead through influence rather than by force. Second, an effective leader understands that she will always have more to learn. And finally, the best leaders are strong enough, generous enough to encourage others to rise up and shine as well. I've personally seen Sara do all three of these things. When Representative Hubble sent each of you a letter supporting Sara's candidacy for assistant leader, the first thing he mentioned was trust, specifically his trust in Sara. I'd like to go a bit deeper into that because I believe that trust is at the very heart of what we are voting on today. Trust takes many different forms in this state house. It can mean anything from, I trust she will be there when the vote is taken, to I trust she will keep her word and have my back. It means I trust that she understands the complexities of this issue and can explain it to me accurately, but also that I trust that she understands my expertise in this area. It means I trust that she will do what is truly right and good for the men, women, and children of this great state. And I trust that she will keep an open mind and listen to new ideas. It is I trust that she will not overpromise to the other side of the aisle, but still be respectful, fair, and honest, as well as I trust that she will always stand up for what we as Democrats value most. It is this trust in all of its manifestations that lets us believe in our leaders. And it's the same trust that helps us believe in one another. I know that Sara will not hunt me down to make certain that I vote a particular way. Instead, she will respect my judgment, offering me the facts and tools to use at home among my constituents, trusting me to act according to my own values and those of my district. Many of us here willingly operate outside our comfort zones to embrace opportunities and learn new ideas. But Sara truly takes this willingness to the next level. When the workload increases, she doesn't back off, but instead just digs deeper. I mentioned earlier that a true leader should also help others shine. Those of us who are returning members will, of course, remember the Energy Omnibus Bill. Many of us recall its challenges, that it was thick and complex and difficult. The bill was the product of much hard work by so many people over the course of many months. It held the fate of Efficiency Maine Trust and our own cap and trade program at stake. Sara understood this, and she could have risen to the caucus floor to explain explain the bill herself, but instead she again went the extra mile. Sara quietly went to work. She created a presentation for the Energy and Utilities Committee members to deliver to the caucus. There was a part for every Democrat on the committee to present. Sara didn't do any of this to earn extra credit. There was none to get. She didn't do this so she could shine publicly. She had the smallest part of all. She did this so that each and every committee member would have a moment in the spotlight, a chance to gain much-deserved recognition and appreciation. If we expect to accomplish important work in this session, it will only be with leadership that appreciates and facilitates our collective ability to lead. Sara understands that leadership is what you do with others, not what you do for them. Please join me in supporting Sara Gideon for Assistant Majority.
Chair recognizes Representative Westbrook, Representative Teague.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues in the caucus. I rise to second the nomination of my friend Sara Gideon to be Assistant Majority Leader. We're about to go into a very challenging and very important legislative session. And because we're the body where Democrats retain the majority, there will be a lot of attention on how we hold together and present ourselves as a caucus, how we stay the course and hold true to our values as Democrats. It's not going to be easy, and we're going to face some uphill battles. We're going to be working with people who don't agree with our objectives and priorities, and often we won't agree with theirs. And if we want to get anything done, we're going to need to be thoughtful. We're going to need to know when to stand firm, but also to make smart deals when the opportunity presents itself. Our success will depend on how we do things, as much as it does what we do. How we work together, how we work with the other body, and how we work with the second floor. We need leaders who understand this, and Sara is that kind of leader. Those of us who are in the 126 understand the passion that Sara has for our core democratic values. She gave 110% of her heart and soul and voice to all of the big issues that we pushed into the past legislature. And although she was a first term, like I was, and a lot of others in this room, there were times when she stepped up and stood out and led the way. Remember that Sara was one of the annual 11 legislators, a group that included Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, who came together and proposed sweeping and comprehensive tax reform. Sara showed us that she was willing to engage across party lines to tackle the most complicated and politically charged issues. She showed that she can champion our values while at the same time working to find a path to consensus. And of course, really, Sara showed all of us, and I mean the entire state of Maine, and really the entire nation, what she was made of and what she can accomplish in the way that she championed her bill to make NARCON available to save the lives of people who overdose. She faced opposition from the second floor. She faced opposition and skepticism when she came before the HHS committee, and even sometimes from within our own caucus. People said she would not be able to get it done, but Sara knew that the benefits were too important to simply give up. She worked that bill carefully, with skill and intelligence. She built a strong coalition of stakeholders and advocates to support her. National experts on addiction, men and women who had personal experiences with drug overdoses, including even parents who lost children. Sara built a solid and unified group that told the story of why this made sense and why it was so important. She created a national dialogue, tapping into local and national media, developing relationships to build public support, to supplement the facts that were already so compelling. She was relentless in building support within our caucus and with our Republican colleagues, answering the questions and crafting the best, most persuasive arguments. And in spite of all this hard and careful and thoughtful work, it was still unclear what, if anything, would be supported by the governor. It was a moving target right until the last minute. And it would have been easy to throw in the towel, to fold up the tent, and take the fight on another day. But Sara wasn't going to do that. It was too important, and literally, lives were on the line. And I talked to Sara a lot as she worked that bill, especially at the end. And I know that it was stressful and emotional because there was so much at stake. But in the face was Sarah's issue, but the issue was never about Sarah. It was about the people and the families who live in fear of unspeakable horror and what she could do to help them and protect them and save lives. And it was also about digging in against great odds and working hard and working smart and engaging doubters and skeptics with a way to answer their questions